used to like you till you got all political. Me? Did I just get Rage Against the Machine? I did not have that on my bingo card. Where have you been? Like my first video I did was not political. It was just about generational stuff and getting older, and it blew up for some reason. And I was like, okay, cool. I might have a social media thing going that I never anticipated doing. And I was like, I'm not gonna make it political though. You know, I don't want people around here to see my opinions and get all offended and it be awkward at the bar. So I really held off on being political until my second video. Like the following day. This has always been a political channel. I mean, I do a lot of other content that's not political, or at least political peripheral. You know, Minnesota content, history content, science content, storytelling, bitching about Facebook Marketplace. Just whatever I find interesting or important or entertaining. And politics has always been one of those things. Now, I'll admit, as of late, political content has pretty much dominated my page with the exception of Sunday Fun Days and Friday Science videos. So I can see why maybe it took you till now for the algorithm to bring you to my political content. And you know, and I understand what you're saying. I do. Because I used to like my content more when less of it was outrightly political. Because back then I had the luxury to use my platform for stuff other than political stuff all the goddamn time. You know, while the country was burning then, it was burning less so. But now we live in a world where we can't go 14 fucking minutes without the Mango Manchurian candidate doing some Nazi shit. And believe me, I would absolutely love to have the time, energy, and mental bandwidth to focus on making content about anything else. But I can't do that because I love my country and its people, and I have a conscience and empathy and a platform. And it'd be pretty fucked up if while women and people of color and members of the LGBTQ community were losing their rights to live and exist, I wasn't using my platform to try and bring light to those issues. But even if that wasn't the case, it wouldn't change the fact that absolutely everything is political. History is political. Science is political. Hell, a French scientist who just came to the US for a science conference was denied access to the country. Not because he didn't get the proper visas or do the proper paperwork or was on some sort of watch list. No, he was denied access because they randomly checked his phone when they decided that they didn't like that he had some critical text messages about Donald Trump and his attitudes and policies towards sciences and the scientific community. So they confiscated his shit and kicked him out. The point is that everything is political. So even when I'm not talking about something specifically political, it's still political. See, I just used to do a lot more content that wouldn't outright alienate people who were too dumb to see what my political beliefs and leanings were. There was a time when I really enjoyed the fact that I could hang out with people of different political leanings and not have to talk about politics. But y'all did away with that. Y'all had to make McNugget Muammar your entire goddamn personality and then just usher in a new era of fascism because you didn't like the price of gas and eggs. Now the most vulnerable members of our communities are being persecuted and prosecuted. Their very existence, in many cases, is being criminalized. Our democracy is falling apart. Our nation is in a constitutional crisis, which is different from last week's constitutional crisis and last month's constitutional crisis and the constitutional crisis from 4 years ago that we're still dealing with. The economy is crashing. The world is just quite literally on fire. We have cities that are sinking into the ocean. We have a health epidemic. We have superstorms. We've not only alienated our allies, but we're making enemies out of them. All of the institutions that allow us to function as a society and keep us healthy and safe, at least somewhat, are being ripped apart. Our veterans and our elderly and our disabled are having their benefits stolen from them. It seems like every other goddamn day some ranking Republican politician is being arrested for kitty diddling or being accused of raping or assaulting women. And the list goes on and on and on, and all of that is fucking political. So I am so sorry from the bottom of my heart if I got too political for you that you don't enjoy it. And let's be honest here, right? You don't really care that it's too political. You just don't like that it's politics that you don't agree with. Because it's never too political for you when Kid Rock is out there shooting up cases of Bud Light, or Ted Nugent in between molesting children is telling Obama to suck on his machine gun. It's only too political when you know you don't like the politics. I'm sorry you used to like me more when I wasn't as political, whenever the fuck that was, but I'll tell you what, I used to like you more too. I used to like people like you more before you were either complacent or complicit in creating all of these problems that make me feel like I've got no other choice but to be so goddamn political all the goddamn time. Because I'll tell you what, having to fight the same goddamn battles that our great-grandparents already fought and won for women's rights and civil rights and workers' rights, for the protections and opportunities that everybody in our society and in our world deserve. I don't want to be doing that. I would much rather those just not be platforms that exist that I feel like I have to use the platform that I've been giving to help address. I would much rather be telling you entertaining stories about history or bitching about people who spend $60,000 on a side-by-side, or complaining about Facebook Marketplace, or telling you funny, life stories from my past. No, I don't get to do that nearly as much as I used to because people like you decided that we needed to go back to arguing about whether a 12-year-old who was raped, probably by Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, is going to be forced to carry a baby to term. And that kind of shit is a bigger issue. It's not a fun issue, not one that we should have to be talking about because we had settled all of that. But it's an issue now that we do have to talk about because people like you either couldn't be bothered to make it your problem before it became a problem, or you wanted it to be a problem and you chose to make it a problem and you voted to make it a problem, and now it's a problem that we all have to fucking deal with. So if you need directions to the unfollow button, I'm happy to help you out, but I would much prefer you didn't do that and you actually got on board and helped us fix these problems so I could go back to making the content that you enjoyed. Because trust me, that is what all of us want.